Okay, so here we are. It is Wednesday night, December 2nd, 2015. The last two classes that we did first a class reading a Teshuvah from Yehaveh Da'at of Hacham Amudah Yosef about women and lulab, whether they shake the lulab, whether they hold the lulab, whether they make beracha on lulab, etc. And the week after that, which was last week, we were looking at a derasha by Rabbi Yom Tov El-Ghazi and his father, Rabbi Yisrael Yaakov El-Ghazi, explaining the last 7 psukim of Eshet Hayil and how Rabbi Yisrael Yaakov El-Ghazi tied it into issues that you wouldn't think of tying them into, and how he views things and views women and berachot, and views the topic of asking rabbis for their opinion on a halacha of how to act or not to act, etc., etc. We said we have more information to discuss on this topic. We thought we would do it this week, but we have to put it off till next week. Here's the reason. As you recall, we prefaced last week's class with what's going on in Israel. This all-out, I'm going to call it war, even though it's not a war, but the shenanigans that are going on between certain Moroccan rabbis and the Rishon LeZion Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef. And it's turned into a real mess. It seems that there's a lot of forgeries involved, a lot of games behind the scenes involved, a lot of playing around. So I gave you a small understanding last week, and it hasn't hit us here in Brooklyn at all. Nobody talks about it. It's not talked about it on the news, obviously. It's not talked about it on the streets. It's not talked about in any rabbi's classes. It's not something we're hearing about over here. In Israel, the entire country is consumed by it. This is bigger news than stabbing. This is bigger news than ISIS. This is bigger news than Hamas. And this is all over radio, TV, printed media. This is among the religious circles, the non-religious circles. This is the biggest topic that is going on.
I don't think
It's okay. I'm going to talk about it still. You're not finished. So what happened is 2 rabbis presented a major plaque that looks like a decorated ketubah to Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef, saying, "We, the undersigned Moroccan rabbis and leaders of the Moroccan and rabbis that lead the Moroccan communities throughout the land of Israel, hereby proclaim that we are subservient to you, Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef, to all your rulings and all your father's rulings. We hereby give up all our Moroccan minhagim, and we will follow anything and everything you say." And it was signed by some of the biggest names in Moroccan Jewry, the biggest names of Moroccan rabbis, or rabbis that originate, in some way or form from Morocco. One of the big names beneath was our dear friend, may he live a very long and healthy life, Hacham David Shilush. Hacham David Shilush, as we know, is already 95 years old. Okay? He is the last guy alive from that Porat Yosef wonder class. The one that we're all familiar with the picture with Hacham Yosef and Hacham Baruch and Ben Sina Shaul and all the other rabbis. He's the only one still alive now. Okay? And we all know that there's no way he would ever say such a thing, that he would agree to rescind all his thoughts and ideas and rulings to those of anybody in the Yosef family, because we've spoken to him personally, time and time again, in person, in New York, in New Jersey, in Israel, on the phone, by letter, whatever, in his printed books. We know there's no way. And other rabbis also. When this came out, certain rabbis were approached. They said, no way, we didn't sign such a thing. So they were given different documents to sign about different things, and their signatures were lifted and transposed. Some were just actually forged. People thought they were giving haskamat to a book of a certain rabbi when he came in. So they came, okay, I'll sign also. If all these other rabbis signed the haskamat, I'll sign also. They were, they were in a rush. The person purposely caught them off guard and conned them. Now here's the biggest problem. The two presenters of this grand plaque to Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef was this rabbi, and I don't know if he's really a rabbi, Shlomo Mayara, who I'll talk about him again, and don't fall off your seats, Rabbi Yosef Shilush, the son of Rabbi David Shilush. Yeah, this is nasty. So it seems that these rabbis were trying to get favors from the ruling Shas, religiosity people, if you want to call them religious at all. No, it's really nasty. I'm sick to my stomach, and I don't want to say things that I'm going to regret later on, but it needs to be said. It seems that maybe Aryeh Dir'i was working behind the scenes.
What is that?
Aryeh Dir'i. You ever heard of Aryeh Dir'i? He is a political guy in Shas. Mm-hmm. Okay? Aryeh Dir'i. Maybe you heard of him like that?
Yeah.
Aryeh Dir'i. Aryeh Dir'i. Okay?
I had no idea that's how his name
I'm
was.
sorry, I got caught up.
I'm sorry. Just sit down.
Yeah, no, I feel bad because
Sit down.
I'm trying to work on myself not to be late for things,
I'll be sorry.
Anyway, everybody, if you didn't hear, Michael is sorry. Okay,
Oh
so
man,
now,
that's on record.
anyway, so it seems that it's very possible that Aryeh Dir'i was working behind the scenes to try to get people, within the Moroccan camp to come up with such a documentation. Such a documentation obviously gives more power and strength to the Shas party, meaning what? Meaning more power, more honor, and more money to him, to the party, and such to him.
This himself, correct?
What? To Dir'i himself.
He's Moroccan himself.
Yeah, sketch.
What?
Besides that, this Shlomo Mayara, like so many characters, and I'm going to call them characters, in Israel, they send their daughters to these Bet Yaakov schools to make them, Ashkenazi, Haredi, acceptable, and then when it comes to put them into high school or into seminars, these are ruled either by Ashkenazim or by the Shas party, who has Ashkenazim running them, and they wouldn't accept his daughter. And Dir'i had all the in with the schools because he's in charge of the schooling in a sense. Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef even issued a letter to the school. I know Mayara, personally, and he's good, and you should accept his daughter. His daughter was not accepted. I didn't have a chance to finish reading all the news articles and all the interviews yet, but it seems that Dir'i basically told him, go and Get all these rabbis together, giving us the power, and I'll make sure that your daughter's in. That's on one side. Yosef Shelush on the other side was a rabbi of some moshabim. Okay, a moshab, as you know, was like a little farming community, and he's a rabbi of a few of them. But he wanted to move up in the ranks and become a rabbi of certain city, at the very least of a major city. And of course, he wasn't going to get such a position or such an advancement. But he was also told, get involved, do something like this, get your father to sign on this, and we'll make sure that you get the position you want. So, basically, these two guys sold themselves and their families and their communities and their heritage out. One, for his daughter to become more Ashkenaziyah than she already was, and one so he could get a position of power and money. This is a big mess. They're interviewing people throughout TV. Rabbi Haim Amsalem has been interviewed a few times on TV, on radio, in the newspaper. He is attacking the Shas party. He is attacking Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef. He is going wild. The mudslinging, the name calling, the things that are going on, it's really, really crazy. Okay, what does all this have to do with us? It has to do with preserving heritage. As you know, we come here week after week, month after month, year after year, and we need to preserve our heritage. The Torah did not start and end with Chacham Ovadia Yosef. Chacham Ovadia Yosef, tremendous, giant, did things for Sephardim and for Torah and for Halacha and for observance and awareness that most people could never dream of. But we also have to realize Torah existed before Chacham Ovadia Yosef. So the buck does not end here. Okay? Torah existed beforehand. And Torah will continue to exist. And we have a tradition to follow. And we have to follow what we see as being emet. In other words, if a case is presented to a rabbi, to a dayan, to judge it, and he judges it a certain way, and they say, well, we took the same case to Rabbi so-and-so, who even you consider as greater than you, and he judged it a different way. He is not allowed. Not he can't, he is not allowed. It's forbidden for this rabbi now to say, well, if Rabbi so-and-so judged it like this, so I have to change my ruling. I have to rule like him. Al-pi halacha, al-pi ad-din, he could only judge and rule the way he sees things. No matter how much greater the other person is that ruled differently. Okay? That is a law. So if I come to you and I tell you, you are Rabbi Barry Mizrahi, and I have a question, halacha, Rabbi Barry, okay, take a month, examine my question, write a Pesach Halacha, write a Teshuvah on it, give me your answer. And I decide that what you wrote makes sense and it's true for me. That's it. I'm done. No, I can't say, well, Rabbi Victor said this and Rabbi Michael said this. We're going to look for a ruling that makes sense, that follows a certain pathway. As we know, not everybody agrees with Chacham Ovadia Yosef. The same way, not everybody agrees with the Ben Shai. Like not everybody agrees with Rabbi Yosef Raful, or not everybody agrees with Rabbi Shammah. Everybody has their own way of looking at things. But obviously you have to have that background. You have to have the tools. You have to have the know-how. And you have to have this connection, a fierce connection to your heritage, to your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather. You can't just say, throw them all out. Who cares? I'm going to choose for myself a different path, and go a different way. In this case that we're discussing in Israel, it's the Moroccans against the Yosef family. But it could be, the Halabis against a different Yerushalmi, guy. Or it could be a Yerushalmi against a Baghdadi. Or it could be a Baghdadi, against a Lithuanian. Or, So you have to stick to your guns, you have to know your heritage, and upkeep it. This is my feeling, and it's obviously not just my feeling, because the rabbis that are involved in this are now waking up and they're writing. And the last, I would say, dozen years or so, the Moroccans have really woken up. Moroccans, I don't mean only Moroccans, I mean the North Africans, the Moroccans, the Algerians, the Tunisians, even a little bit the Libyans. They woke up. They started examining their heritage. They started printing and reprinting the books of their Hachamim. And they've had thousands of great Hachamim. And they're examining who we are, where we came from, how the Torah of our great-grandparents reflects upon us, how it's different than what's being taught today in Eretz Israel. Where do we go with it? What do we do? So, what do we have in front of us here today before we switch for a second?
That's it.
Well, we've been running for a while now. Okay, so
Works from the camera here.
Okay, I'm looking at the image. Anyway, so we're going to look over here at a response by one rabbi to this despicable act of getting all these rabbis to, quote unquote, sign a document reneging their heritage and proclaiming subservience to Rabbi Ishaq Yosef and to the late Hacham Yosef. The document you have in front of you was written, obviously, in the last few days. It's an 8-page document. Yes, you can have a copy, sure, absolutely. The reason it's important, it touches upon many topics we've dealt with in class over the years. And it's going to open up your brain to topics that you may have never thought of before and may want to examine in the future. Things that you may never have realized. I should be asking a question. What's going on? What happened? Now, this applies here and now in our community as well, because our minhagim are also constantly under attack. They are being changed without anybody realizing it. And in our community, this applies to the Halabis, to the Shamis, to the Lebanese, to the Egyptians. All of these different Sephardim that are organized to a certain degree in Brooklyn are being attacked. Minhagim are being changed. Whether you're talking about minhagim of prayers, minhagim of holidays, minhagim that happen in the Beit Knesset, minhagim that happen in the home, things are being changed left and right every day. I get questions about things which I take for granted, but obviously something's happening out there. People are on a mission to destroy. So we need to be that group of people that's throwing up those sandbags and blocking that flood from happening. Agreed? So let's look at this.
Works from the camera here.
Okay, I'm looking at the image. Anyway, so we're going to look over here at a response by one rabbi to this despicable act of getting all these rabbis to, quote unquote, sign a document reneging their heritage and proclaiming subservience to Rabbi Ishaq Yosef and to the late Chacham Yosef. The document you have in front of you was written, obviously, in the last few days. It's an 8-page document. Yes, you can have a copy. Sure. Absolutely. The reason it's important, it touches upon many, many topics we've dealt with in class over the years. And it's going to open up your brain to topics that you may have never thought of before and may want to examine in the future. Things that you may never have realized. I should be asking a question. What's going on? What happened? Now, this applies here and now in our community as well, because our minhagim are also constantly under attack. They are being changed without anybody realizing it. And in our community, this applies to the Halabis, to the Shamis, to the Lebanese, to the Egyptians. All of these different Sephardim that are organized to a certain degree in Brooklyn are being attacked. Minhagim are being changed. Whether you're talking about minhagim of prayers, minhagim of holidays, minhagim that happen in the Beit Knesset, minhagim that happen in the home, things are being changed left and right every day. I get questions about things which I take for granted, but obviously something's happening out there. People are on a mission to destroy. So we need to be that group of people that's throwing up those sandbags and blocking that flood from happening. Agreed? So let's look at this.
Wait, but shall we?
Okay, either one.
When we're talking about our heritage, does that mean that we have to stay loyal to it to every single degree?
Not as easy. It's not an easy question. Okay? And the question really is, on a different front, do we have to be loyal to it at all? Do we have to be loyal to the customs of a city or country that we've never been to and will never be resettled by Jews, okay, and that we've left 50 years ago, 100 years ago? What's our connection?
Yeah.
Okay, these are questions for the background, okay? I touch upon them very briefly in an upcoming article in Kol HaKahal. It should be out a couple of weeks.
Looking forward.
It's not as great as it sounds.
It sounds bad. He's bad.
I touch upon them.
Joey, before.
Yeah, go ahead. Wait, David had a question first. David.
Go ahead.
I don't remember.
No, come on. What do you mean?
You were saying putting up sandbags for people that are out to, what was the word you used?
I sent people out to destroy. So we need to put up those sandbags to stop those floodwaters from coming in and destroying us.
Do you think the people are out to destroy us, saying within the community, you're saying?
I'm not saying where they are. They could be within or without. What's the difference where they are?
Is it that they're out to destroy, or is it that they just don't know anything and are doing it
So it's even worse destruction.
inadvertently?
No, it's not inadvertent. None of it is inadvertent. It is all being done on purpose.
Okay.
They may feel we're teaching Torah. Okay?
They want conformity to their standard.
Maybe.
Feels right, probably.
Because
You're right.
for many of them, it's because they do not know any other way. They never knew. when you don't know, and now you're spoon-fed a certain way, you think that's the one and only way.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Also, where they're educated.
no. So I know a different way, though.
Sure, absolutely.
I know what I saw. Why should I take that and say your Torah is better now?
Right.
What was wrong with the Torah that I know?
100%.
So let's see.
One other question.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not important.
It's all important.
You mentioned that there's money at stake.
Oh, there's definitely money at stake.
So-
In Israel, you're dealing with a lot of money. It's all politics. Politics means money and power.
Okay.
If, in other words, so if you get all the Sephardim, okay, now this includes the Iraqis, the Moroccans, the Yemenites, the Syrians, Egyptians, the Turks, the Greeks. You get all the different Sephardim now, all saying, we hereby proclaim there is only one path for Sephardim, and that is the path that is being shown to us by the current Rishon LeZion, Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef. Okay, so now Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef, after a year of everybody following his laws, buying his books, okay, that's money, okay, buying his newspapers, only eating from his kashrut, has money too, okay? Now, only going to his schools, there's money again. You got my drift?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're all gonna vote because he said, everybody go vote for the Shas party. All of a sudden, the Shas party is gonna have 54 seats, okay? A lot of the money there now. You got the entire, state treasury in front of you. There's money.
Okay.
It's all money and power. This is Israel. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Question is, who is orchestrating it? I do not know. Whether it's the rabbi himself, whether it's people connected to him, I don't know. I'm not here to point fingers. We're here to study Torah, but I need to give you the background as to why we're reading this tonight and why we're not continuing with our topic that we said we we're going to be continuing with.
And who wrote this?
I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
So, as you may or may not recall, in the past, and not a long time ago, we studied a few teshuvot from Rabbi Zechariah Zarmati. Okay? We did him on the Kol Be'isha issue. Okay? Women singing. We definitely used them over there. We touched upon him for some other things as well. He wrote this 2-volume Teshuvot Ma'araviyot. Okay? It recently won a major prize of literature. Okay? So, it's an important work. Not well known in Brooklyn. I think it's probably the only copy in Brooklyn. Okay? I got it directly from him when it came out.
Wow.
Very important. Okay? A lot of good stuff in here. And something to discuss later on. So he's the one that wrote this teshuvah. Okay? Teshuvah not in the sense of a responsa of halakha, but teshuvah as a response to this debacle.
Situation.
Mm-hmm. He writes, title is Muda'a Rabba Le'oraita. Okay? This is a grand Torah proclamation. גאוני המערב בכל הדורות לא בגדו במסורת אבותיהם. Okay? The geniuses of North Africa throughout all the generations never rebelled against the traditions of their fathers. This is what he's calling this piece. قدهما جدولا نفنا على فآشخ موتاي كيرا أورائيتي حزود كشي بدموت أوتا مدعى ربا لبزايون هالتورا مدعت إبل رباتيتي
علشان رسول ربانيها الزمان هم خنيمة عصمان جيونيها معربة بنيمي لا خريج على المتاح حليلة بحاس شل تورات ربانيها معرب رباني إيمت تورات بنيميوت منها معربة بنيمي بتورات النغلال على صوت صفون أفريقيا حيسونا مدعاه مفلقة تعام بتكفاق شابح وبال عمود إتانيم إيش على عادته إيش بشم السرها خماب وسكوت أبو تاف مول أويب أخزار إيش سوفيل قارشين وما أرسلوا الطباء بين عيد لعاسود الوناي فيرو توراتيخ. Bottom line, he's telling you, there's no reason to explain word by word what's going on over here. No reason to explain to you word by word what's going on over here. He's telling you, I am utterly shocked and dismayed at this proclamation that was, that was presented this week to the chief rabbi in the name of rabbis who call themselves rabbis of North Africa, who are basically declaring the death of our Torah, the death of our rabbis, the death of our traditions. This is our Torah. It's within us, and it came from within us, and they have no right to declare or do anything whatsoever. This is a time where we need to strengthen ourselves, and each community needs to strengthen ourselves so we can become stronger as people. And what they did is abhorrible. We cannot let it go on, and we must respond to it. This is the gist of what he said in this opening paragraph. Rishit, shete habharot hashubot, asher ha'emet מחייבת שלא יחשידנוהו חלילה ברצון לפגוע בכבוד התורה בכבוד החכמים, לא זו דרכנו אך האמת תיאמר והיא. First of all, he's telling you, I have to open up and saying that I'm not here to make fun of anybody. I'm not here to put down anybody. I'm not here to, to poke fingers and say this guy's Torah is good, this guy's Torah is bad. But we need to talk about the emet. And if you notice, he keeps using this word emet, and he makes it as a Rashi Tevot, because he likes to use it as a play called emet. Aleph, Mim, Tav, Algeria, Aleph, Morocco, Mim, Tav, Tunisia, emet. Aleph. אותם הגאונים הזקנים האמיתיים אשר שמם מופיע כביכול בראש רשימת המקבלים הנחפים ומוותרים על תורת אימם. הלא אחרי בדיקה וחקירה כדבעי התברר מעל לכל ספק שלא נסתרפו מידיעה ברורה וסלולה על כל פירותיה לאותו פשקוויל עלוב ומתנשא, ואין צורך להכביר במילים על כך כי השיטה ידועה בקדמת דינה. These great true hachamim, these great geonim, these great rabbis, whose names appear at the beginning of this list of rabbis that accept upon themselves what this paper says and who have given up the Torah of their forefathers. It's very simple upon looking at it and examining it carefully that there can be no doubt that their signatures did not appear there because they understood what was being signed, what they were signing, if they signed it at all, okay, and how their names were used for this peshkavil. Peshkavil is a word that's used very frequently in Israel and mainly among the religious world, okay. I'm guessing it's an Ashkenaz word originally, and it refers to when there is when somebody wants to create a ruckus, and they'll put up, one guy will put up a sign saying this, and the next and the next guy will say, put up a different sign, refuting that, and then this side will put up another sign. You don't have to have those billboards throughout Israel with all these, with all these things all over there. It's more than, it's not just propaganda. We don't have really a word for it in English, But in the community years ago, we used to have letters that used to be mailed out to people, people that are pro this guy would say this, people that are anti the guy say this, and all types of things would go out. So it's much more than propaganda. But in Israel, it's called a peshkevil. And he goes, and there's no reason for us to waste words on this part because it's very clear. And he's going to show us now what he's talking about. אך דבריהם האמיתיים של אותם גאונים שליטה כבר כתובים עלי ספר בחיבוריהם הנפלאים. Because the true words of these hachamim, it's already written. It's written in their very own books. Open up their books of these rabbis and you'll see what they really feel and what they really say. והם אשר פסקו עוד בימי הראשון לציון עובדיה יוסף זכרונו לברכה על כך שאין לוותר על מנהגי המערב כלל וכלל והלא קל וחומר העידנה שלא יחזרו מדבריהם בפני בנו השם יחייהו וישמרהו והדברים פשוטים. They already ruled back in the day when Acham Yosef was alive, that no one has the right to forego their customs, the customs that they did in the Ma'arab meaning the Maghrib, meaning North Africa, whatsoever. And all the more so not to forego them now, in the days of his son. ורק להוכחה מועטת אם יידרש أصين معات من البساكين. And just to give you a little proof, if you think you need it, I'm going to bring up some of the rulings. This is where it starts to get fun and exciting and important. ראשית أذكיר ما שכתב מורנו ורבנו הרב הגאון אבי דוד שלוש בעל פה אין סיפור פעמים ובכתב בשאלות ותשובות חמדה גנוזה. First I'm going to mention what we know from Rabbi David Shilush, which we heard from his mouth numerous times. In Sipur Pe'amim, numerous times. You can't count how many times we heard it. وبكتاب, and what he wrote in his شئلوت شوot حمدا جنوزة. حمدا جنوزة, 3 volumes. As we know. مأمار بسيكاه الخاتي بتفتحوتا على يمينه. At the end of the first volume of حمدا جنوزة, he has a very lengthy article called بسيكاه الخاتي. How to be posek halacha, how the format of making halachic rulings has developed from the time of the Gemara until our days. Shim hayeta mahloket qiduma bin hachamim. If there was a early argument between the hachamim, ze oser v'ze matir, one forbids and one permits, ונהגו להקל מפני שהיה רבם או שחכמיהם מקום נוטים אחר דעתו בעניין זה, and they decided to be lenient because their rabbi, or the hachamim of the place decided to lean in that direction because that's the way they felt it should go, that's the way they understood the topic. מניחים אותן על מנהגם, we leave them alone with their custom. אף שהרבה מקומות נהגו לאסור, even though in many other places they had the custom to forbid it. ובכן, לך נא קורא נעים. He's telling you, please, dear reader, go. ועיין גם בשאלות תשובות חמדה גנוזה בעניין מה שפסק אותו גאון רבי דוד נרו יאיר. Go, dear reader, open up Hamda Genuzah Halak Gimel now. We talked about Halak Aleph for a second. Go look at Halak Gimel and see what Hamda David Shilush says in Siman Lamed Zayin. לפיו אין ראיה משני התלמודים לאסור לעמוד בעשרת הדיברות. There is no proof whatsoever, not from the Talmud Babli, not from the Talmud Yerushalmi, to forbid standing during the Aser Deberot, during the Ten Commandments. Some of you may recall the class I gave in the J a couple of years ago about this.
Didn't we mention this also when we were doing the tissue bar?
We mentioned it in passing. We mentioned it in passing. We never dealt with the topic here at length. I gave a very lengthy class on it at the J one Shabbat morning a couple of years ago. Were you there? Probably not.
You were in the morning?
In the morning, yes.
You were a guest lecturer?
Yes, sir.
I don't remember that. That's
See?
got to be like the first or second year.
Are these dairy?
No, they're not. Enjoy.
Thank you. I'm sure, you know.
يأخذوا عناوين ويسباعوا.
Yeah.
Plate, fork, knife, what do you want? Glass of milk?
No, I'm good.
I'm in.
Amateurs.
They don't know me.
He's saying that you can't say it's asur to stand for Aseret HaDibrot.
Right.
Is that what he's saying?
That he's telling
Okay,
you.
fine.
Okay? So he's saying, ليخ ناكورين عين بعين قام بشلوت شبور حمداق نزا بينين مش بسك وتوقع وانا بدافيد رؤيا ايه حيث جيمل سمان لما تزاين لفيف ان رأيا قلت اخم دافيد there is no proof whatsoever from any of the Gemarot to forbid standing during Asher Deberot بشيئين كبار حشاشة ترعومة همينيم شايتا بتكوفات رمبام and there is no concept whatsoever of Tara'omet Haminim. Tara'omet Haminim meaning that you have certain sects within Judaism that will say, look, they're standing for the Ten Commandments, so the Ten Commandments are more important, and so they only give respect to the Ten Commandments. Those type of people don't exist in our time period, like they may have existed in the time of Harambam, which caused Harambam to come against it. And this is what he says, Ki biyaminu. Or kufrim ba'ikar, or ma'aminim. Because nowadays we have people that either are complete heretics or they believe. We don't have people that are partial believers. وشبح موري وربي هرب جاون اتمنهاج بكتاب شلاؤول حزيكو كيافيه. So he's telling you وشبح موري وربي. He's not telling you who. He's telling you, and my master, my rabbi, praised this custom. Who is his rabbi? Who's his master? He's referring to? No.
Who's writing? We're not sure.
Rabbi Zechariah Zarmati is writing this. Here's a rabbi and teacher. Here's Rabbi Shalom Mesas. Okay, who was the chief rabbi of Yerushalayim? V'shibach mori v'ribbi harab gaon et menhag. My rabbi praised this custom. V'chatab shela'ui lahazeko. It's worthy to strengthen it. Ki yafehu, because it's nice. וזה מן המפורסמות בניגוד לדעת הראשון לציון עובדיה יוסף וזכרונו לברכה ובנו הרב הנוכחי השם יחיה ובשמנו. And this is from one of the most famous topics that they disagree publicly with Acham Yosef and his son Bishak. או במקום אחר מה שלימד זכות על היתר קביעת העירוב על ידי סורת הפתח לחי וקורא בערי ישראל. And what about elsewhere where he found a way to give his okay and to find a way to legitimize the use of a irub that is done with Surat al-Petah when they make a fashion of a doorway with string on top and the poles on the sides, etc., throughout the cities of Israel. Keda'at Rashi veHarosh, according to the opinion and the ruling of Rashi and the Rosh, Hasobrim dechol she'en bo shishim ribo bechol yom eno hashiv l'shut rabim. As long as you don't have 600,000, people traversing through it each day, it cannot be considered l'shut rabim. Zot kevan shadabar b'mahloket ben aposkim. This is because it's an issue that is what? The mahloket. There is difference of opinion among the poskim. Veda'at maran lo nidbarera kede ba'eh. And the opinion of Maran, referring to the Shulchan Aruch, is not really clear. إلو فإلو دبري إلو محيim. So obviously, both sides have valid opinions, and not only is there validity to them, you can choose a side. וכיוון שאין ספק במציאות, لا אמרינן ספק דאורייתא לחומרה מהתורה, וזה סותר את כל דברי שאלות תשובות יביע עומר מינה וביאה. He goes, so now if you're going to come and tell me it's okay, so now you're going against the יביע עומר, against חכם יוסף. ואם לא די בכך, לך וראה מה שכתב בעניין ביטול חזרת השליח ציבור בשאלות תשובות חמדה גנוזה חלק ג' סימן ל"ט. And if that's not enough for you, go open up Hamda Ginuza volume 3 and see how he talked about getting rid of Hazara.
This is Chama Vadavus?
No, Hamda Ginuza.
Oh, this is still Hamda
Shilush,
Ginuza.
right?
We're talking about Hamda Shilush. You guys have no idea who he is, do you?
I think I heard him.
Yeah,
I didn't know. The Joey's code.
And in other words, none of you know. You never seen.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen anybody. What were you doing in Israel for a year?
Visiting people.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's yeah. Oh, we should have met him. Why not? We could
Studying
have.
So we went for a week. You saw more people than you did. Oh yeah.
He goes for a day. You see more people I saw.
Yes. Ham David Shilush, very, very important in Hacham. Okay? Unfortunately, he's not in the best of health right now. And he has a hard time, recalling things. He has a hard time speaking. But if you catch him at a good moment, he'll go on. And you'll learn plenty from him. So a few years back, we were lucky enough. We had a donor that was able to foot the bill to bring him here to New York. Okay, well, really to deal because it was in the summer, and we set up. It was 3 weeks of learning all day with Rabbi Shilush.
Oh.
Yeah. So guys that were obviously a little bit older than you guys, they were able to take advantage of that, and they were sitting there in West Deal all day long, hanging out with Rabbi Shilush, learning Parasha, learning Halacha, learning Musa, learning Tefillah, you name it. He was.
How long ago was this?
When would you say it was, Ezra?
6 years, 7 years.
Yeah,
You were there? You were.
I was one of the organizers. I was not the donor. Okay.
No, I'm saying, were you learning with him?
No, I was at work, but I have, but we recorded everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was going to say.
Yes. No, not David Tesh.
Pre-David.
Stevie Dweck.
Uh-huh.
Who's Stevie Dweck?
Which TV you were?
Stevie Dweck, movie producer Stevie Dweck.
Oh, okay.
We had these things, yes. He had movie crews coming down every day to record. Okay, front angle, back angle, side angle. Okay, one day maybe we'll, put up a site. But I have all the raw footage. Very, very powerful Hacham. And think of it like this: he's the last of the Mohicans. He is it.
What?
Mohicans. You know the Mohicans? Not Mohican Sun up in Connecticut. Okay?
An expression.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like you need
Like
it.
at the needle.
Moving the needle.
Moving the needle didn't refer to the record player, by the way. I looked it up.
Yeah, it refers
Yeah.
to like a meter.
Yeah.
Oh, it was before the record player. Yeah, it was. It was sewing.
No.
No.
Do a needle on a meter.
Ah.
Okay.
Something else you guys don't know. Oh.
Digital.
Yeah, we have it in the car, I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
either
yeah,
F.
Driving.
I guess so.
I guess.
Oh, I'm going to change the radio station? And it moves?
No.
You drive.
On the meter, on like a thermostat.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
thermostat,
Oh.
No, like let's say, how can I explain
Just
it?
pull up a picture on the phone.
Like if you were to measure volume, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, let's say you were to scream very loudly.
You want to see how many
the needle will
ohms?
go like that.
Oh,
How
yeah.
many decibels it is or whatever.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like that.
You see it in the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But doctor's offices still have some old
Oh, for
equipment.
blood pressure.
Yeah.
Oh, that thing,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Ah,
Yeah.
that
heard
doesn't
so
move
much.
the same way.
Doesn't move the same way, but
So that's that move the needle. I wonder but how do you move the needle? How do you?
yeah, you increase the noise or
You're
whatever.
gonna write a report for us.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So
I want to
his-
get to the
his
bottom of
thesis-
this.
The last Mohicans, I guess the Mohican tribe was,
Yeah.
was becoming extinct or whatever, and so
He'll
It's a
look
movie,
they
right?
left.
You were in the JCC 2012? I was a year.
Oh.
I think the first week in 2012, I think.
first week. No, it wasn't the first week.
Was it? Then I don't know.
It's okay if you don't know. Don't worry. I'm sure I could find my notes and look. You know. All right. It was the year that we didn't use the gym. It was the year that we had all the classes in the lobby.
Oh.
Oh,
No, so now I know, I remember it.
okay.
It wasn't 09 to 2010, the first or second year.
اوكي. بعدين بتوح حضرات الشاذ بشدود شبوت حمدان جنوزا إلا إمكان مسائيم كعسرين متبللين هعونين حزرا مكبرين لا. He would only tell you to have حزرا if you have
20.
like 20 people there. They are answering حزرا and having كفنا. وماشي حلاك أدبرها ريشون سيون يوسف تخلون برخاء بعنيان أميرات بركاتها الجوميل كداعت حخمها مع عرب شعور هو في شيطح برسا. Okay, he rules that say بركاتها الجوميل like the Hachamim of North Africa, that the area that has to be traversed has to be an area of a parsa. Hacham Yosef doesn't go by area, he goes by time that you're on the road.
72
Okay? As we just said, 72 minutes. Okay? He doesn't care if you're traversing 1 mile or 1,000,000 miles, it has to be 72 minutes.
So if you're going to deal, you would have to say,
That's right. According to Hacham Yosef, you have to say Birkat Gomel every time you go back and forth to deal.
Depends.
Yeah.
Well, even you go to a
If you
city.
drive 100 miles an hour to get there,
Yeah, but usually.
okay, yeah, usually you
No,
get
I'm
stuck.
saying if
Yeah,
there's
no,
rush
you
hour,
can
you
get
get
there
stuck in
now.
rush hour going to the
You
city.
can-
You'd have to say
Get
it
it down there now.
I'll
daily.
get there in like an hour. and
Under 72 minutes for sure.
Oh, again, there are other
That's it.
factors.
I did
involved.
hour. I did
I
hour
say I
10.
can if I get there under 72 minutes.
I can't.
I did
can't
hour
go
10.
fast.
Anyway, so Rabbi Shlush is saying no, it has to be you have to go over an interior called a parsa, and Howard Yosef is saying no, 72 minutes no matter what the distance is. זאת כדי שלא לתת דברים לשיעורים ולא יהיה לדבר סוף. בשאלות תשובות, חמדה גנוזה, חלק ראשון, סימן כף. יתרה מזאת, במסקנתו, בשאלות תשובות, חמדה גנוזה, חלק ראשון. אוקיי? שרוב פוסקי ספרד וראשוני צרפת התירו לאישה לברך על מזוות שהזמן גרמה נגד דעת מרן השולחן ערוך. Okay, that most he proves in Hamda Genuza Halak Rishon. Who wants a Halak Rishon? Raise their hand. So you have one already, Ezra.
I have one.
You have books now?
We have a generous donor who gave me the books to give out too.
Alright.
Oh, so I won.
I win. I haven't seen that generous donor in a long time. Anybody seen him? You've seen him?
Where is he? Panama?
I don't know where he is nowadays. I haven't seen him.
No, you don't know who he is either. Okay.
Oh, you don't know? Okay. No, you probably know him.
I think
Anyway,
you would know him if it's on.
anyway, later.
Do we like just know who he is, but you don't want to say the name, or
We're
do
not
you not
saying
know who he is?
he doesn't like people saying his name. Even whatever money he gave, his name does not appear anyplace. He doesn't want it that way. He doesn't want me to share his name.
It's a real humility. A lot of humility.
He doesn't want. for whatever reason. Yeah. But his name's not there.
It's in the Siddur that he put out.
His name is in the Siddur?
The Yom Kippur,
Maybe. I thought only his grandmother's name's there.
or maybe.
Okay. Anyway,
Now we got it.
it's not gonna help you. You're not gonna know who it is.
Yom Kippur, how many?
Oh, we don't know.
You probably don't know him anyway.
Am I allowed?
Is she related to the Moabits?
Send it to the thing?
He said he's Panamanian.
I didn't say he's Panamanian.
Thought he said he's Panamanian.
I never said Panamanian
Said
at
he
all.
might
I
be
said
in
he's
Panama.
Panama.
It might be in Panama.
And what does Panama have to do with Bawabis?
Because they're related. No.
To Panama?
No. Because this community is not so big there.
It's tremendous.
Yeah.
Nah, it's very big.
It is?
Yeah.
I thought it was small.
It's like,
Wait, what? It's like what? Maybe a little smaller than this, or same size?
no, it's not as big.
No,
It's
it's
like
small.
10 to 13,000. It's 10 to 12,000, I think.
Really?
That's what I heard when I was there
It's a nice size.
last
Yeah,
year.
very
It's not tiny.
Nah, I thought it was
They,
small.
Not
they
tiny.
outnumber the Ashkenazim are about 3,000 maybe. But they have a beautiful synagogue, the Ashkenazim.
Okay.
Anyway,
So,
We'll cut that out. Don't worry.
רוב פוסקי ספרד, that wasn't
I
enough.
want to know that.
רוב פוסקי ספרד וראשוני צרפת התירו לאישה לברך על מזוות שהזמן גרמה נגד דעת מרן שולחן ערוך. Says he proves in Hamdat Gnuza that most of the poskim of Spain and the Rishonim of France allowed a woman to make a beracha on mizvat aseh שהזמן גרמה, which is obviously against the opinion of Shulchan Aruch. בכתב להלכה שמנהג המברכות יסודו בהר קודש. And he wrote that what? The women who make a beracha, they are firmly established. Okay? שמברכות מתברכות מן השמיים. And not only that, these women are blessed from heaven for doing it. והלא מורנו ורבנו הרב שלוש גם כתב מפורשות בשאלות ותשובות חמדה גנוזה בזה לשונו אף שרב גמיר וסבי שדעתו נוטה לפסוק כאחד הפוסקים הראשונים דלא כשולחן ערוך אינו צריך כפרה בדורנו זה אין רב רשאי לשנות מאומה מפסקי מרן והאומנם קהילות בישראל הנוהגות כמנהגם ביחוס לארץ דלא כמרן ימשיכו כמנהגם. So he wrote numerous places, even a Rab Gamir V'Sabir, in other words, a well-accomplished rabbi, whose opinion causes him to tilt, to rule like one of the Rishonim, and not like Shulchan Aruch. This rabbi does not need kapara. It's okay. He decided to rule other than Shulchan Aruch. Bedurenu zeh, but now in our generation, a rabbi is not allowed to change anything from the rulings of Shulchan Aruch. But, and it's hard to understand this statement without reading it out of context. So it requires a class by itself. But kehilot, communities within Israel, who follow their customs that they did outside of Israel, not like Maran, yamshichu, they must continue, or they should continue, or they can continue, any way you want to look at it, with their customs. Okay? They do not become now subject to the rulings of Shulchan Aruch because they moved. ואיך שמו והחתימו שורפו בהם הפך דבריו. So now how could these rabbis come and put the signature of Rabbi Shalush on these things when it goes completely opposite, counter to everything he said? ואיך העזו לדבר בשמם של גאונים מערביים אמיתיים הלא גם בשאלות שובות אורחות יושר. Now, forget about Rabbi Shalush for a second. Let's go look at the Orchot Yosher. Orchot Yosher we touched a very long time ago. Maybe as you'll remember, Rabbi Yosef Sharbit. Okay?
Northern
Moroccan, yeah. There's a lot of Moroccan rabbis that are the rabbis of cities throughout Israel. Okay, you have to also understand that the amount of Jews that were living in Morocco, okay, pre-48, outnumbered the amount of Jews in any other country of the Middle East. There were approximately at least, from what I know, fair number, 250,000
Still a
Jews
lot.
that were living in Morocco.
Wow.
Okay? Nobody came close to that.
Much
No.
bigger, yeah.
Iraq was like.
And they have many big
1.8.
cities. right?
Less, maybe.
Maybe.
Less.
Yeah, maybe one.
Less.
So now do they compromise like a plurality of Sephardim?
Probably.
Yeah.
You would say, right?
sure.
And then for sure, when you add the Tunisians and Libyans and Algerians, and for sure that's a majority of Sephardim.
In Israel, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Right.
So he quotes, he goes, look at Murhot Yosher.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, just, I guess, when I go to Israel, I'm mostly in Yerushalayim. You have really,
What do you have? Tell me, what do you have? This
you have a
is good.
mix. You have a mix. You don't come across that many Moroccans in Yerushalayim.
Yeah, we came across a lot.
You come across Yerushalmi.
Every single
but you
shul is
definitely
next door. There's
Yeah.
a Moroccan.
But there are many Moroccans.
Yerushalmi
Yeah.
or Moroccan.
Even down the circles that you ran in also depends. It's
Definitely
different when you live. I'm saying when you live there, you really, maybe because I don't know what you do in Jerusalem, maybe you have relatives or something. They're more likely to be associated with Yerushalmi, no, than Moroccans.
Well, what's a Yerushalmi?
That's another thing.
Yeah, I was a little confused. I don't know.
I'm waiting to find out what a Yerushalmi
I
is.
define your nowadays, so it might be different. I define Yerushalmi as like a non-Moroccan Sephardic person in Yerushalayim. Because Moroccan, meaning if you go to a shul that's Yerushalmi versus Moroccan, you can pray easier in the Yerushalmi one. Much more. For some reason, it's more like Syrian or Iraqi or whatever it is, and closer to tunes that we have than Moroccans are. What is that?
You don't think so, Joe?
Nah, I'm wrong, huh?
I'm trying to understand. Let's fix this, okay? We're going to go off topic again. So, I don't know where to begin.
Oh man.
Okay, we're all in agreement that there were Jews in almost every country of the Middle East, North Africa, the Mediterranean, the Levant, etc. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Until when? Until what time you use them?
60s?
19.
And let's say until 1948.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, there were Jews in almost every one of these countries, and Jews continued to, dwindle out of these countries, till today. Some countries now have no more Jews, some still have Jews. In any case, from the people that left these countries, fair numbers made their way to the new state. Okay, whether before it became the state of Israel or after it became the state of Israel. When they arrived, okay, these people that arrived in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, okay, even the 80s, did they find Jews living in Jerusalem?
Yes.
Great. So that means in 1900, okay, there were Jews living in Jerusalem, correct?
Right.
Were these Jews from Iraq or Morocco or Syria or
Probably not
What have you?
Morocco, but could have been from
Could've been
maybe
from all
the
over.
surrounding Sephardic areas.
Okay, so let's clarify. The host community of the Jews of Jerusalem, okay, now put your heads back into the old city now. Okay, 1900, really nobody was really living outside of the wall. Okay, for the most part. So now we're in the old city. As far as Sephardim are concerned, you are now thinking of what? Where did the Sephardim pray? B'Yohanan and Zakkai.
Right, yeah, the four
The
synagogues.
4 synagogues.
Right.
Right. So now, what kind of Sephardim were they over there?
Oh, they're all different.
They're all different.
They have a Turkish shul, they have the Moroccan shul, they have, I don't know.
1900, they had a Turkish shul and a Moroccan shul.
I don't know,
No.
now that's what it
Okay,
is.
so I said we're going back to 1900.
1900, I don't know.
Okay, so that means that's when we had the Yerushalmim. Okay, that's when we had Minhag Yerushalayim, and we had Yerushalmim. You had the Iraqis that came were not praying there. The Turks that came were not praying there. The Syrians that came were not praying there. The Moroccans that came there were not praying there. You had the old hardcore Yerushalmim. Okay, people that were praying there from 1500 and 1600 and 1700 and 1800. There, old families. Okay, really old Sephardim. Got me? Iraqis came. They opened up their own little place. The Moroccans, for the most part, were living even in their own section of the old city for the most part. Again, different Jews lived next to different Jews, and they lived, mixed together with Muslims also. But for the most part, in the old city, the Moroccans really kept, for the most part, to themselves. Okay, and the Iraqis, for the most part, were not really in the old city. They were outside the old city. Turks, you had some in, some out. Okay, Syrians also, for the most part, were out. Very few were in. You had different people from different places. And they had small little synagogues. But the main place of the Sephardim, the glory, were these 4 Sephardic synagogues, as we call them today. Okay, with the big one being the one on the name of it, Yohanan and Zakkai. And they open onto each other. You've all been there. You've seen them. You know more or less how they work. But if you went to pray there, you, Mr. Mike Wilderici, because you walk into your Yerushalmi place and you feel comfortable because it's like, like the Syrians, like the tombs, like whatever you said. Okay? If you walked into that place in the year 1800, okay, you would not feel that way. You would feel that you were in Turkey. Okay? So for you, you'd feel at home in that sense. No, I don't mean it as a joke. You would not hear the tunes or style that you are familiar with from New York and New Jersey. Really. And what you term Yerushalmi today, because you walk into a knis where Nahari's praying or Habusha's praying or somebody else is praying and you hear that that's Yerushalmi, that's not Yerushalmi. Okay?
So what is it?
So where is it now?
It's a mess.
That's what it is?
It's a mixed up mess.
No,
Okay. So
Okay?
I mean, I prefer that over the Moroccans. That's
Moroccans very different.
Very different.
Moroccans is very, very, but Turks are very different. Did you ever hear the Turks pray?
No, you haven't. You don't know. You guys don't know.
I just couldn't handle Moroccans. I thought it felt like I was
Yeah.
playing with Ashkenazim.
Well, DJ had a break.
The Moroccans are very different. Go pray with the Yemenites.
Nah, it's
I
tight.
never did
You
it.
can't. It's very tough to understand. Also,
Very.
it's 'cause
You
it's
didn't go.
different vowels.
You didn't take
No, I prayed once in Israel.
we say Rabbi Ftahi by Sukkot.
They read
It's
Torah.
Sukkot.
It was like,
But he took us to the
He doesn't still live in Shadi, does
yeah. No, I mean
like on the border.
yeah, in Sanhedrin.
he? No, he used to live in the heart of Mea
No, he lives in
Sha'arim.
Sanhedrin
But his
now,
office is there.
His office
So-
is there. Yeah, he teaches there.
What a character.
We slept in the Sukkot.
Funny guy.
Yeah,
Funny
we slept in
man.
the sukkah. That was great.
So the best classes was when he was here.
He's definitely-
He came to
Yeah.
really, man.
If he's in town, he calls me up. Shi'ur, I'm coming. I promise you.
He does.
He does.
It's been a while because I haven't been here for 5 years.
You haven't seen him?
I've seen him at Sephardic one
Not
time.
here?
And he comes to the house. Hey, kidding? Naomi's excited when he comes over. Yeah, the rabbi's coming up to class. Okay, very nice. Yeah, we get guests in the class.
Wait, this class?
This class. Oh, he comes here.
Oh, I thought you learned separately on your. Wow.
No,
that's
no,
awesome.
it comes
He
to the
here?
class.
Oh man. When he comes, I can't speak.
One of a kind.
Funny guy. I know him since I'm about 13. Nice guy.
Oh.
That's when he first started coming to Brooklyn. Anyway, so what you calling Yerushalmi and what I'm thinking of Yerushalmi, two very different things. I forget. What
No. I never knew this. I always thought you. I didn't realize Yerushalmi was its own customs.
Joey told us that.
The original Yerushalmi
Yeah.
customs.
The real Yerushalmi. There are very few synagogues, you know, that
Even
still
with the
follow
term
that.
Yerushalmi, most of them don't actually.
Right. And it's a hodgepodge of people praying there.
And you think that's a bad thing?
If they try to adhere to the real minhagim and style of Yerushalayim, I think it's a beautiful thing.
I'm saying what's happening now. You don't.
No, I don't
think
like
it's- You don't like
I think it's a mess. I think it's one big mess. Okay, so now back to Orhot Yosher of Rabbi Yosef Sharbit. Okay, וגם מורים ורבינו הרב הגאון רבי דוד שלוש, בשבועות חמדה גנוזה, כתבו נגד ספרי ילקוט יוסף למשל. He's telling you, look, go read the writings of Orhot Yosher, go read Hamda Genuzah, and they wrote against things that are written in Yalkut Yosef. بلحظك את מנהג בנו ישראל להדליק ואחר כך לברך הדלקת נרות השבת. For example, they are out there trying to strengthen the position of the Jewish woman who lights her Shabbat lights and makes a beracha afterwards. Okay? וחזקו שם את דברי בהלכות גדולות והגאונים בעניין זה. And they came to strengthen the words of the בהלכות גדולות and the גאונים. והסיקו שמרן השולחן ערוך לא בא להכריע קהילה בדבר. And they came and ruled and showed that Maran in the Shulchan Aruch did not write his words in a fashion that he was trying to position the law, saying that no, they must make a beracha and then light. Okay? והלא זהו בניגוד מוחלט לדעת הרב עובדיה יוסף זכרו לברכה. And this goes completely against the ruling of a Chacham Yosef. Chacham Yosef has pushed the idea time and time again that no, Over the Asiyatan, make the beracha and then light. Make the beracha and then light. Make the beracha and then light. But if you look at reality, the bulk of Jewish women, okay, among the Jews of North Africa and the Middle East, was to light and then make beracha. And this was for the overwhelming majority of women in Egypt, in Syria, in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Morocco, in Tunisia, in Algeria, in Libya, in Turkey, in Greece, in Bulgaria, in Yugoslavia, in continue.
So where come we that? What's the source for doing it like this?
Different class. Okay, different class. Okay, so now we got how many classes so far?
Someone should be writing
We
down.
write it down.
I think we had at least 4 times.
You gotta, if you don't write it down, we're gonna forget it.
You don't have to write it down. You can read this again, and you could, figure out. You can watch the video.
Watch the video.
Right there.
Wait, what does Maran say on this? On lighting? Did
They have to
bring it up?
light before.
We're not going to tell you what Maran says because according
Maran.
to these rabbis, Maran does not say. According to Chacham Yosef, Maran does say.
Oh, okay.
So, what does
You
he
can learn it
say?
yourself.
No, I guess it's a difference of opinion of how you interpret it.
About when light.
It says something, right?
The point
Right, it
is,
says something. Now some are interpreting in one way, some
I got a better one for you. What did Grandma Milo do?
I never met her.
Huh? Well, she was a nice
Passed
lady.
away
You lost.
10 years ago. 10 years ago. Passed away in the 80s, I think.
was the other class? What was the other class?
Okay, so this is your homework now. Go find out what ground rules is.
Lights, we got. I always
Hey.
Write that down.
You have to write that down. You're gonna call Grandpa Elliot and Grandpa.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna write down. Call Grandpa. That's
Do you remember?
Text him now.
Oh, Hazara maybe?
Okay.
What was the other class, Joey?
Hazara was one
What?
of the classes,
The
right?
one you said there.
Well, we still have more on Mizvot Aseh Shazim and Gidama.
Oh, yeah.
We have Hazara. We have this issue of lighting candles. We had the issue of what do you call it, of how to rule according to Maran. If a rabbi can make a ruling according to a different Rishon. Well, there's a lot of different things.
That's the big one.
That's the big one. They're all big.
No, that's the real big one.
That's the real big one. You think so?
Yeah.
You have no idea. Trust me. Okay, let's keep going. 1 second.
Yeah, that thing.
I know. ואיך כתב מי שכתב דברי הרב דוד שלוש באומרו שביטל כביכול את דעתו בפני הראשון לציון עובדיה יוסף. Now, how can somebody come with this piece of paper, this document that they presented to Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef, and with the signature of Rabbi David Shilush on it supposedly, and say, "Here I am, Rabbi David Shilush, Chief Rabbi of Netanya. I hereby declare all my rulings null and void, and I give in to Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef." Who could believe such a thing? Can such a thing be true?
It's funny because even if Chacham Ovadia wrote the letter, he wouldn't give in.
That's right.
We know Chacham David. He wouldn't give it to Chacham Ovadia.
That's
He would
right.
get the son Fisher.
The son? אוקיי, יוסף, הלא אלו דבריו בעניין דלעיל לאחר שבדק את כל מקורותיו זיכרונו לברכה. אוקיי? את כל מקורותיו, זה לשונו. עיינתי בכל הנזכר לעיל, ולא ראיתי לאחד מהם שכתב כן. So now how could he go and just toss his opinion out when he himself writes that he went and he checked all the sources and I investigated all of the above sources and I didn't find even one that wrote like what Acham Yosef is telling you. So how could he go and say that? יתרה מזו, כי כתב נגד דעת רבני יוסף כולם בשאלות שוות חמדה גנוזה. And not only that, he wrote out against the entire family of Yosef rabbis in Hamda Genuza. Al pi debrei Yerushalmi, according to the Yerushalmi. Katan lesefer Torah, osim oto senif. Okay, so here's another class which we also touched on at one point. Having a child get an aliyah to the Sefer Torah. Allowed or not allowed? Who says what and what?
What is senif?
Person to go up. Okay? ולא חילק בין ימים שעולים שבעה לאלה שבהם עולים שלושה. And he didn't differentiate between a Shabbat when you have 7 עולים or a weekday when you have 3 עולים. ומשמע שגם למניין שלושה קטן עולה. And it would sound like even for a day when you only have 3, like on a weekday, a katan could go up. כי כן היא דעת הרמב"ם. Rabbeinu Yeruham v'Haran, and this is the opinion of the Rambam, Rabbeinu Yeruham and Haran. והאם יסכימו לכך הראשון לציון הנוכחי בעל ילקוט יוסף, and will the present Rishon LeZion, the author of Yalkut Yosef, agree to that? We know he doesn't, because he writes in Yalkut Yosef, the kid can't have an aliyah. זה לא ייאמר. This would never be said. אלא אם כן הוא זה שחזר מדבריו מפורשים, unless obviously one of them retracted their words. ולא זו אף זו, והנה מנהג קדום במערב כללי לברך ברכת הגומל לא רק על אותיות חיים, אלא גם על נס, בניגוד לדעת הראשון לציון עובדיה יוסף. And here's another topic. The custom an ancient custom within North Africa is that for Birkat HaGomel, we don't only say Birkat HaGomel on the 4 letters of Hayim. That was a different class that we have. We're not going to get to it now. But we'll also make a beracha on a nes, on a miracle. If a miracle happened to somebody, the minhag of North Africa, to make a beracha of Birkat HaGomel on it. And that goes against the Rishon LeZion Acham Yosef, who ruled against it and does not allow a person to make a beracha and says it's a beracha l'batala. והנה זו דעת בדוד שלוש. Rabbi David Shalosh says, oh, you can make a ברכה. ובכך פרש הרב שלוש מכת המתקפלים. בכדי איתה בשל שבועות חמדה גנוזה, על פי עיון דברי ראשוני אלג'יר, והסיבה שרק הארבעה הוזכרו להודות רק משום ששכיחים הם תמיד, אך לא לאפוקי מי שנעשה לו נס וניסד, כי אפקה מסתברה וכלבה חומר. He goes, yes, of course, the regular ruling talks about the Hayim, the people who traverse the desert, or the people who traverse the water, or the people who get free from jail, or the people who get out of a sickness, because those are things that commonly happen. But somebody who has a nes, a miracle, it's not, and he's saved from it, is not so common. So that's why it's not mentioned within this word Hayim as a Rashi Tevot. But of course, if you think about what the whole concept of Birkat Gomel is, it applies to somebody who had a nes and was saved, through this nes. So all the more, so he definitely has to make a beracha. ועוד, האם מורנו ורבנו דוד שילוש לא חלק בשילוש שהוא חמדה גנוזה עד דברי הראשון לציון הגאון רבי עובדיה יוסף ביביע עומר אשר הורה לאכול בשבת שאחד בערב פסח ללא כיומו מסע עשירה כלומר נילוש בימי פירות מהרים להחמיץ. He goes, what did Rabbi David Shilush, as we know, when Erev Pesach falls out on Shabbat, so if you have the first night of Pesach falling out on a Saturday night, we always run into the issue, what do we do for Masa, what do we do for Haves, when do we do this, when do we do that? The rulings of every rabbi seem to be different, and the rulings of Acham Yosef and Acham David Shilush seem to be completely at odds with each other, with Acham David Shilush saying, have egg Masa Friday night and Saturday. Okay, again, completely against what Acham Yosef wants to say. Okay, ושמה יש לשאול האם מורים ורבינו הרב שלוש גם חזר בו כדעת דברי המודיעים בשער בת רבים ממה שכתב בשלוש שבועות חמדה גנוזה מתוך מדברי החידה שלו גזר כלל על הזקן בחול המועד. And what about his ruling that he allowed you to shave on חול המועד? כי רוב ככל ישראל לא היו מגלחים זקן. He says, listen, back then, people didn't shave their beards. And if you want to say the zakan, the beard was part of the gizera, okay, say specifically who's somebody who didn't shave before the holiday. Somebody who shaved their beard before the holiday. But people who generally shave before, and they shave on a regular basis, they consider themselves as delicate individuals. They didn't make a gizera that everybody should be minuval, should be walk around this in a disgusting fashion because of the small amount of people who, because they were busy, didn't have a chance to shave.
Doesn't the Reggio say this also?
Yeah, we know about Reggio. We're not talking about Reggio now.
But I'm saying, is he quoting him or is this
No,
his
no,
own
this is
opinion?
him. This is him. He's
There's a
definitely
Hida
not.
here, right?
No, this is Rabbi Shilush here. This has nothing to do with the Hida. Hida talks about something different with shaving. مسكنته الشام دموتا لختحلا لإلا شجال حزقانا بعرب هريجل لجليح ولا معيد. And his ruling over there, his final conclusion, is لختحلا. Okay, people who shaved their beard before the holiday can shave during Hal Mu'ayyid. وشيش لسموخ لدعاته على ربنا تام. And you can rely on ربنا تام شيجام هتير جلوح هروش على المعيد. ودعت روبا بوسكيم جلوح الزكاة هو رب ربنا. لزي لو يسكيم فداي هريشون لسوه النقحي. And we definitely, without a shadow of doubt, can say that we know the current Rishon LeZion Rabbi Yishak Yosef would never agree to tell somebody they can shave their beard on Halam Mu'ayyid. وبمكم أحير قام هكشها قاون ب No, this is not. This is a typo. It's definitely a typo. It's supposed to be Hagaon B David Shilush, and it gives Hagarash Shalshu. It's a mistake. Okay? عاد بريها قاون بي عودي يوسف هأوصل أميرات برخاء شل هالليل بروش حودش وبرخاء على هفتراد تعنيت. Okay? Again, he fights with Acham Yosef on the topic of making beracha on Hallel on Rosh Chodesh or a beracha on the haftarah of a fast day. Okay, as we know, the Moroccans make a beracha on Hallel of what do you call it, of Rosh Chodesh, like the Turks do, right, Mr. Turk, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, see? And also, the Moroccans also say
Did
Haftarah
you know that?
on Ta'anit. Not all of the Ta'aniyot, but on Som Gedalia.
I'm not sure.
I'm talking about right now. Okay? והקשה בספרו של שולח חמדה גנוזה, and he questions Chacham Yosef on this and those that are against it. על מה ולמה בירושלים? Now, if you want to say you can't make, as Chacham Yosef says, you cannot make a beracha on a minhag. Watch this. And this is for Bill DeRicci over here, who wants to talk about minhag of Yerushalayim. It says, על מה ולמה בירושלים? How and why in Yerushalayim? Okay? ربنا لمدوا على بي نوسح مخونا بشم يروشلمي. According to the نوسح that is now termed يروشلمي, quote unquote, you see it? مبارخين على هفترات شعبها ببنحا. How they go in Yerushalayim, the people that call themselves Yerushalmim today, make a beracha on the haftarah of Tish'a B'Ab. They read a haftarah on Tish'a B'Ab afternoon, and they make beracha on it. The minhag, but this is a minhag.
Same rule.
This is a minhag. How can they do make a beracha on that? But you come and tell me it's haram to make a beracha on Halil of Rosh Chodesh or on beracha of haftarah of a different ta'anit the afternoon. V'lo barachim al Halil of Rosh Chodesh shehu na'im minhag. It's also minhag. This is a minhag, that's a minhag, this is a beracha, it's a beracha. Same. ما يؤمروا وما يشمعوا هموريم بمودعاء زول بطل منهج زي. What are they going to say? What are they going to listen to? These murim, these masters, these teachers, okay? Also a play on the word hamurim.
I thought rebels, no?
Yeah, but over here,
Shimona hamurim.
I know what he's saying, but he means more than rebels over here because he knows they're not rebels. Because he knows it's fake. So that's why he's calling the people who put out this moda hamurim, really, without saying it. Because the people who signed didn't really sign.
Very sad.
بمودعات ولا بتم من هاجزي يتر الكين more than that تقاف هرب شلوش as بعد هاليوم Rabbi Shelush banged and attacked from then until today من هاج ضمال الشم يحول فنيكم مزفاء وتفلا the custom of saying the Shem Yehud before every mizvah or every tefillah شلوك من هاج مع عرب. It's not something that they did in North Africa. וחטא בשאלות תשובות כמחמדה גנוזה והסיק להלכה שהרוסה לא אמר לשם יחוד. But somebody who really wants to say לשם יחוד ידלג לכל הפחות על הקטע ליחדה שמות כבי יחודה שלים, etc. Or only say ביחודה שלים, okay? And only have כוונה, don't say it. וימשיך לומר ביחודה שלים. ומסקנתו דעדיף שלא יאמר כלל כדעת הגירה. And his real ruling is better enough not to say it whatsoever, like the Gira, the Gaon Biliyahu Vilna says. وبعنيانها مدينة وخبوت ربانوتها لشيد إسرائيل. And regarding issues of the state and honor for the chief rabbinate of Israel, he lohik shah هجاون بدافيد شيلوش بشيلوش هو الحمد لله جنوزاه تميها جدولا على رباني دورين وشم حيبين ذكروها الليل جامور بيوم هي بإيار ولو باريخ على ده أد ربا إفكام استبارا كي هالليل تقنا دخول علما صاريخ لباريخ الليل شلو يك محارف عين شان دبارا كي في شلو نهاجيم حتى وميها بانيم بختابة بيتور بيوم العصماء. We're not going to get into that because I don't think he is fully understanding what Rabbi Shelush wrote. So I think he's misquoting him over here. Rabbi Shelush is all pro the Hallel. He is not pro making a bracha on the Hallel. V'hineh kahialon shebaketed, and it's clear as a diamond in a crown. Benogia lema shepresem harishon l'sion hanochachi nero yair. V'chazar ve'amar la'acharona b'shem aviv zichron bracha. Shehelek min minhagei Morocco hem minhagim ra'im u'minhagei ta'ud sheyesh le'battelam. Okay? And now, what are we going to say on something that we all know? We've heard him say it on, in person. We've seen it on the news that he's saying that a portion of the minhagim of Morocco. This is he's talking about Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef, the current Rishon LeZion, saying that Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef is saying that some of the Moroccan minhagim are evil minhagim, okay, and minhagim that came about by accident, and that they must be annulled. ואלה הגאונים הפנימיים הסכימו עמו בכתובתה דה. And these rabbis who came to sign this document now agree with him that these are bad, evil, mistaken minhagim. أخملنا عسيش كتاب بقاون بدافيد شلوش بشيلوت شوت حمدا جنوزا حيد الجيمة سمان فاب شيش لحزك إدو منهاج. Okay? And now what are we going to do? Rabbi Shalush is telling us, no, it's a good minhag, and it's an established minhag, and we have to strengthen minhag. The mutar, la'anot, baruch hu, baruch shemo, berachot, shiusim, bahim, hawatan. For berachot, that we fulfill our obligation with them. Now, some of you guys are looking around like you're lost. What are we talking about over here? Growing up, and I'm going to say this again because we've had classes on this many times in the past, okay?
Yeah.
Somebody made a beracha on the Megillah, on the shofar, on Kiddush.
You still say Baruch Hu.
You answer Baruch Hu. Everybody answers Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. No problem. Nowadays, you hear anybody answering at all?
No,
Yeah, actually,
no, you get killed.
They make announcements.
They make
saying,
announcements.
Make
Make
sure
you
to
don't
not.
answer.
You could say Amen, but don't say Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo.
Okay.
I always say why, and they say because
We always used to say Kiddush.
Everybody said
Sure.
it. We all said
Whenever
it.
you say Kiddush, we always just say.
Everybody said it. All Sefarim said
what
it.
happened?
Because we all want to
Oh,
make
yes,
him
yes,
sick.
happens.
That's the idea.
What?
Someone Yosef said to stop it. So,
Wait, but even let's say with something like that, my dad comes and says stop it, but yet we have this minhag of doing it. So isn't that similar to the same case over here? Meaning you're saying that everyone was saying Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo.
right. And so, Rabbi Yishak Yosef, following the path of his father Chama Yosef, is saying that this is a evil minhag, this is a mistaken minhag, it must be stopped. Rabbi Shalush is saying, no, it's a great minhag and we have to strengthen it.
No, right, no, I understand that.
So what's
But
the
I'm
question?
saying, meaning if everyone in this community, let's say, was doing that, my dad now has the power to tell us to stop that?
Depends.
You really don't know what happened here in Brooklyn.
I'm
Turn it off.